It is very rare for people or animals to stay in just one place. Let's take a look at this collage of transportation and think about the different ways that people can move from one place to another. How many different means of transportation can you identify? Have you been on any of these particular types of movement? Probably most of you have been in a car. Some of you may have ridden in a train. I see people walking and riding their bicycle. I also see people going from place to place in a bus. Maybe you've been in an airplane or a helicopter before. I do not see a boat. However, a boat can most certainly take you from place to place. Boys and girls, people usually do not stay in one place. Therefore, they use different ways to get around. Animals do the same thing. Let's see how animals move from place to place. Just like people, very rarely do animals stay in one place. They move from place to place just like we do. Take a look at the photographs of some of these animals and how they move from place to place. I can see a chipmunk that climbs in the tree, maybe hopping from branch to branch. Other animals may stand on two legs like the polar bears as they fight with one another. Yet other animals like the big beautiful buck use all four legs to move from place to place. Other animals that aren't pictured in this collage may slither to get somewhere. Do you know what kind of animal that might be? That's right, a snake may slither from place to place. How about those animals high in the sky? The ones with the wings? Those animals are birds and they can fly to get from place to place. What about monkeys? Monkeys can swing from branch to branch to get from place to place. Both people and animals very rarely stay in one place. Now let's take a look at sea creatures to see how they move to get to where they want to go. Ocean animals have different ways of getting around. Because they live in water, many of them swim or drift from place to place, while others may crawl along the ocean floor. Animals that can move themselves against the waves, currents, and tides are called swimmers. You already know some animals that can swim. What are some animals that can swim? That's right. Fish can swim, whales, sharks, and one of my favorite, dolphins. Which parts of their bodies help them move? That's right, their flippers or their fins. As you can see in this beautiful photograph of the ocean and sea life, these fish are moving from place to place, and they are swimming. Animals and plants that drift in the water are called drifters. They're carried by the moving ocean, going wherever the current, tides, or waves take them. Drifters float along the top of the ocean and also deep below the surface. Some baby animals are drifters. Many fish, when they are first born, they can't swim very well. They drift in the ocean until they grow older. Other animals remain drifters their entire lives. Most drifters are very, very small, but some, such as these jellyfish, are fairly large. Finally come the crawlers. Adult crabs, sea stars, and snails all get around by crawling along the ocean floor. Most crabs crawl sideways on their many legs. A snail slides along on its muscular foot. Sea stars have 5 or more arms with tiny feet on the bottom of each. Each tiny foot is like a suction cup that allows the animal to grasp rocks and to creep along the bottom of the ocean. Sea stars' tiny suction feet also help them hold on to the animals they catch to eat. So now you know that most sea animals are swimmers, drifters, or crawlers. A few animals, however, aren't any of these because they don't move at all. Ocean animals such as barnacles just attach themselves to rocks and wait for their food to come to them. Now it's time for you to make a moving storybook. Your storybook will include sea creatures that move in many different ways that we talked about today. Cut out and color those sea creatures and paste them into your moving storybook. As you're working with each different sea creature, think about the way in which that sea creature moves. Find a picture of the animal that swims and name that animal. Then, as you're working in your book, look for an animal that drifts. Can you name it? There is also an animal that crawls. I bet you remember the name of that animal. And finally, there's a picture of an animal that does not move from place to place. Can you name it? Have fun working with your learning coach and enjoy creating your own moving storybook of the wonderful and beautiful sea creatures of the ocean.